ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Jai Gurudev. So yesterday we saw this the verse number 24. We'll just go through this one more time. अच्छेद्योऽयमदाह्योऽयम् अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतस्थाणुः अचलोऽयं सनातनः. This self cannot be cut, burnt, drowned, or dried. It is changeless, all-pervading, stable, immovable, and eternal. The word ayam in this verse refers to the self-evident, self-existent Atma, not a non-existent Atma, Shunya. Self-evident means that which does not require any means of knowledge to prove its existence. The Atma alone is self-evident. Everything else becomes evident to the self. To say I am does not require perception, inference, presumption, illustration, or the means of knowledge called anupalabdhi, that which helps you understand what does not exist. Even to understand what does not exist requires someone who is existent to use the anupalabdhi pramana. For example, in order to know that there is no pot in my hand, there must be perception and a person who wields the perception. This is exactly where when Buddha said Atma is Shunya, Shankaracharya ji said, he said, who is the one who is saying Atma is Shunya? Who is the one who says Atma is non-existent? That is Atma. That is I. So that I am does not require a means of knowledge, does not require perception, pramana, anumana, none of those is required. Pratyaksha pramana, anumana, and even agama, for instance. But agama is required only to clear out the doubt, clear out that notion of who I am. And this new term we've got is anupalabdhi. It is a means of knowledge that will help you understand what does not exist. Now, inference, a means of knowledge based on perception, also presupposes a person who wields the inference. Whatever the means of knowledge, there must be someone to wield it. To say that the object in your hand is a feather and it belongs to a peacock requires a means of knowledge, your own perception and your prior knowledge of a peacock feather. You perceive the object directly and recognize it as a feather. Similarly, to prove the existence of any object, a means of knowledge is necessary. Even to perceive that my physical body is not the same as it was yesterday requires a means of knowledge. How do you know you have a stomach ache, back pain, or that you ache all over? Since you cannot show the ache to anyone, no one can verify. No one can verify it. This is why body ache and back pain are so useful in applying for leave. Even an orthopedic specialist cannot say whether there is an ache or not because it is purely your own experience. You alone are the witness. Witness perception, sakshi pratyaksha, is another type of perception that does not involve the senses but still is a perception. So basically, he's driving home the point that a means of knowledge, this perception, is required in order to experience anything. For instance, even pain, the physical body, you're experiencing pain. Although the others cannot, you cannot prove it to others, that you experience it still requires a means of knowledge which is other than the senses. But it is a type of perception. This is the sakshi pratyaksha. You can only talk about these various conditions of the body if you have a way of knowing them. Similarly, since you talk about your mind, for example, a person who is comatose will not be able to experience pain. He will not say, I'm experiencing pain. Only a person who is conscious is able to experience pain. Why, for that matter, even in deep sleep, when you have the pain in your waking state, when you sleep, you don't have the sense of experience of pain unless the pain is so severe that keeps you awake. So, therefore, even in different states of mind, this perception is the knower is required. That you can only talk about these various conditions of the body if you have a way of knowing them. Similarly, since you talk about your mind, you must have some way of knowing it. There must be some perception by which you know the mind. That you have certain memories is purely because the programming is there, even though it might not always serve your purpose. Even to know that you have forgotten something is a perception. Everything is evident to me because I have a means of knowing. But by what means do I know that I am? Do I know I am by perception, by a scripture, by the senses, by inference? No, I am there before them all. Because I am, I can infer. I am, and therefore I can see and hear. That I am is self evident. And because I am, all knowledge is possible. A very important paragraph for us to understand how, see, even scriptures came afterwards. So I already existed. All this came afterwards, and therefore you don't need anything to tell you, prove to you that you exist.
Again, I wonder, how God made us like this.
Mm.
Nobody has to tell that you exist. You are your own.
And because of that, we have all the perception, inference, knowledge, all those like illustrations we just read. Anu upalabdhi. Anu anu upalabdhi.
Anupalabdhi.
Anu upalabdhi. Right.
Anupalabdhi. Yeah. Anupalabdhi.
But even after that, still we have those layer of ignorance, no? Though born with such intricacy, you can say, like how intricate system is, but still that layer of ignorance. That is an irony again.
I'm just reminded of the meditation that we do in the advanced course, that where you say, I am sad, I am angry, I am this, I am that, but what is central to that is I am. That and the fact that letting go is the key. The problem is we hold on to everything. We hold on to the physical body, mind, intellect, ego. Say, this is me. So all we need is to just let go. Drop each of our identities. Just drop them. And then what remains is that self-evident I am. The self-evident I. Atma is not non-existent. One thing alone, Atma alone, is self-evident. Svata Siddha. Therefore, Ayam is a very important word here, referring as it does to that which is not the object of any destruction, Achedya. Krishna kept repeating it because the Atma is not zero. It is not non existent like the son of a barren woman. The Atma is all existent, self existent, and is not subject to being slain, burned, drowned, or dehydrated. It is timeless, Nitya, and thus all pervasive, Sarvagata. Anything that is time bound, Anitya, is not Sarvagata. Even space is not all pervasive. space is all pervasive only with reference to the world, but it does not pervade the Atma, because Atma is consciousness, and in the consciousness there is no space. But then, when space is there, consciousness is also there. Therefore, space does not pervade the Atma, but Atma pervades space. It is Sarvagata. See, in consciousness there is no space, but when space is there, consciousness is also there. And space is all pervasive only with respect to the physical world. It does not pervade the Atma, but Atma pervades space. Then again, Atma cannot move. It is Thanu. How can it move? Where can it move? It can only move to a place where it is not. Since Atma is Sarvagata, it is Thanu. It does not move. It is always the same. Here one may think perhaps the Atma is like a tree, staying in one place, but swaying. No, we are told. Unlike the tree, it does not sway. It is Achala. Krishna also describes the Atma as that which remains the same always. It is Sanatana. It is not brought into being by some force or cause. Because it is not affected in any way by anything, the Atma is always the same, always fresh, always new. And what is it that is always fresh and always new? Is the present moment. Which is why the more and more we are in the present, we are with this aspect of the sthanu, achala, nitya, and sanatana. I mean, that's the whole gist of the art of living, is to come to to live in the present. And all the sadhana that we're doing, all the whatever we're doing is to bring the mind to the present. And Gurudev says it so many times, present moment is not just a fleeting moment. It is deep, it has a depth of its own. And this depth is that sarvagata, it is like all pervasive. It is knowing the Atma in this way, there is no reason for you to entertain any grief. But you may say, I don't cry for Atma, I cry for Anatma. To which Krishna would ask, why would you cry for Anatma? It is always changing, Anitya. Atma is always going. Sorry, Anatma is always going, and you cannot stop it even if you want to. Whereas the Atma is Nitya. and there is no way of destroying it. For what do you grieve, Arjuna? Krishna asked. There is no room for grief at all. There is something to be done. Do it. This constant refrain is again sounded in the next verse. Does anyone want to share anything before we go to the next verse? Mhm. I don't cry for Atma, but I cry for Anatma. To which the answer is Anatma is always changing. So what are you crying for? When you know it is changing, that it is changing, are you crying for that? Which is why when someone asks, what is the thing to be always happy? Gurudev says, drop the always there. It is always changing, anitya. Anatma is always going and you cannot stop it even if you want to. So where is the cause for grief then? We want everything to be unchanging. The paradox of human existence is that we want things to be stand still, the physical world, where it's not possible. Relationships, for instance, you want the same love, the same thing. It's not possible because everybody is changing moment to moment. We're seeking nitya in something which is anitya.
That is the cause for suffering.
This
That
is the
is a
human problem, basic human problem. So we are secure, but we're seeking security in something which is not secure, something which is outside of this. I shouldn't say outside, there's nothing outside of the security, but we're seeking something, we're seeking to do something in order to be secure, not realizing that we're already secure, we're already happy, we're already nitya. Nitya, sthanu, achala.
say in our basic course, we do know that I am happy when I get it. This I am happy when I'm doctor or I'm all. So remove that when, if I am, if that remove that all the condition. So you are pure happiness, But we are looking that happiness in other thing. We are not looking at our own thing inside, which we are already having that happiness. Therefore, we are suffering.
then again, it is not just saying, okay, I'm happy, I don't need to do anything. Krishna says, there is nothing to grieve. There is no room for grief at all. There is something to be done, do it. So it is not like, see, when Buddha came, he got everyone to meditate. And everyone was happy just meditating. But they became very passive. There was nothing, no, should I say, everyone thought that was the only way.
That is what he was telling, Shunya.
Shunya. That is Shunya, but everyone became passive. There was nothing. So if nobody does their respective jobs, how is the world going to go on? In order for the world to go on, each one needs to do their bit of work. It's like in the machine, unless the nut does its job of holding the pieces together, the piston does its job of doing going up and down, the machine will not work. The whole machine of the universe needs to function provided everybody does their bit, which is what Krishna is goading Arjuna to do. Get up and fight. You are a Kshatriya. Your duty is to protect Dharma. So each one of us recognizes our roles and responsibilities and just does them with this backdrop of knowledge that I am, I am, I am, I am happy with or without whatever. I am happy, but this is what I am supposed to do and I will do it. And therefore we go to the next verse. Avyaktoyamachintyoyam avikaryoyamuchyate tasmadevam viditvainam nanushochat nanushochitumarhasi. I am this, avyaktaha, unmanifest. I am this, achintyaha, not an object of thought. I am this, avikaryaha, unchangeable. Uchyate is said, tasmat therefore, evam thus, enam this, viditva knowing, anushochitum to grieve, na arhasi you ought not. Ayam avyaktaha, ayam achintyaha, ayam avikaryah uchyate tasmat evam enam viditva anushochitum na arhasi. This self is said to be unmanifest, not an object of thought, and not subject to change. Therefore, knowing this, you should not grieve. Vyakta refers to anything that is manifest, that which is an object of perception, an object of the sense organs. And that which is not manifest, not an object of the sense organs, is avyakta. Therefore, Atma is referred to here as avyakta. Why? Because it is not an object of our senses. If Atma is not an object of one's perception, is it perhaps an object of inference? No, says Lord Krishna. Atma cannot be an object of inference because it is not an object of thought. It is achintya. He's closing in on all the loops here. Atma is self-evident. Thus, the word achintya does not mean that the Atma is not available for understanding. It only means it is not an object of thought. Also, Atma cannot be an object of inference or perception because without the Atma, inference and perception are not possible. In addition to not being an object of sense perception, avyakta, nor an object of any inference, achintya, the Atma also does not undergo any modification whatsoever. It is avikriya. It is not like milk that undergoes a change to become yogurt. The milk gains a new taste, sourness, and its smell as well as form undergoes a change. Because milk is subject to change, it is said to be vikarya. Previously it was in one form and now it is in another. The same object that was milk before is yogurt now. Unlike milk, the Atma undergoes no change. You cannot say that previously Atma was happy and now it is sad, because no change is possible for the Atma. Due to aviveka, however, one takes oneself, Atma, to be subject to change. But because it has no avayava, no attribute, it cannot undergo any change. Atma has no attributes. One may say that Sat, Chit, and Ananda are attributes of the Atma. Why then can Sat not become Asat, Chit not become Achit, and Ananda not become Dukkha? This does not happen because Sat, Chit, and Ananda are not attributes as such. They are the Lakshanas, words that convey their meaning by implication for the Atma. Atma is the Lakshya, that which is being implied. The implied meaning is the very nature, Swarupa of the Atma. Attributes are something other than the Swarupa of an object. That which is Chit is Sat and also Ananda. Atma is not a substantive enjoying certain attributes. In fact, it is free from all attributes. I'll read this again. Atma has no attributes. One may say that Sat, Chit, and Ananda are attributes of the Atma. Why then can Sat not become Asat? Chit not become Achit? Like in the previous example, milk undergoes a transformation. Milk becomes yogurt. So how come if Sat, Chit, Ananda are the attributes, why is Sat not becoming Asat? Why is Chit not becoming Achit? And why is Ananda not becoming Dukkha? This does not happen because Sat, Chit, Ananda are not attributes as such. They are the Lakshanas, words that convey their meaning by implication for the Atma. Atma is the Lakshya, that which is being implied. The implied meaning is the very nature, Swarupa of the Atma. Attributes are something other than the Swarupa of an object. That which is Chit is Sat and also Ananda. Atma is not a substantive enjoying certain attributes. In fact, it is free from all attributes.
It is like that with the help, like Atma cannot be inferred or perceived, uh, or it is not the base of any any you can say that like this Satchit Ananda, this you are not perceiving that, you are not these are not attributes describing Atma. It is because of the Atma that we perceive and infer, and we give it that state of Sat Chit Ananda. Like it's the other way around. Because of Atma, all these things are perceived and inferred, and that is why that is termed as Sat Chit Ananda. And it cannot be said that Atma is Satchitananda, but because of Atma, we feel or we infer or perceive all that which is describing all the terms they are describing about the Atma. I understood that way. There are no attributes to Atma.
It's just an implied meaning.
Yeah, because of Atma, we are inferring, perceiving. There was a line above, no? Atma. Also, Atma cannot be an object of inference or perception because without the Atma, inference and perception are not possible. So all the qualities of all the things which, like that anubhuti, you can say that you feel of that Sat Chit Ananda state is because of the presence of Atma. I don't know how like I'm clear, but I cannot I'm not very explanatory.
No, you've said it well, Dr. Savita. So Atma, you cannot, there is no adjective to Atma. These are all only lakshanas.
Yeah.
They're not. Again, we are all caught up in the world of words, in the jungle of words here.
Yeah.
Because Atma is something which is indescribable. But these are all only lakshanas pointing to the Atma. The words that convey their meaning by implication. They are lakshanas. The implied meaning is the very nature, swarupa of the Atma. That is why Sat is Chit and also Ananda. They're all the same. They're only. Why do we have Sat Chit Ananda? We'll go to the next para. If Sat were to be an attribute, what would the substantive be? The substantive itself is Sat. So its Swarupa is Sat.
I have a small query here.
Yes,
When
Persiji.
we say Swarupa is Sat, and at the same time we hear that Atma is Nirakar, Nirgun. So then Swarupa, I don't know.
It is all indescribable. It's just
Ah.
indescribable. It is just to point out you are that. You cannot say, see, anything described can be, we can describe only the object. Then it becomes an object. It's not an object at all to be described. It is just to tell what it is. Implication, just an implication, such an ananda. You are that, you just can't. Nyumatitam, Niranjanam.
Here, I think by Swarupa, what is meant is the nature. Like, for instance, the Swarupa of fire is to burn, is heat. The Swarupa of ice is cold, is. So here the Swarupa of the Atma, it does not mean it has a Rupa. No, it is not that. It is the nature. Nature of the Atma is, and all these are the attributes, the lakshanas describing that nature. See, all those that even in the previous verse, achintya, sthanu, achala.
See, anything if you want to describe, it should be an object only. It is not an object at all. It is you, just you. I can't be described. We cannot say Swarupa. Swarupa is, okay, nature. That's the exact word what Brahmaraj has told. It's a nature, only the nature. It can't be, it is a subject. It just can't be described. You have to have that. You should look into it in yourself to feel that Swarupa. Swarupa. Actually, Rupa is not at all there. Nama Rupa has not at all, no connection with Nama Rupa at all. It's just a word play of the word, just to describe it. You are that. I am. Just the being. Thank you.
Also, the Atma has been described always in a, like, putting a before every ajala, achedya, adahaya, akaledya. So it's
That is what is negation, no? We are
that
negating it.
negation.
Whatever
Yeah.
you feel that you are negating it again.
Yeah, so it's always starting,
Yeah.
most of, it's not always, but that's like sat is, it is sat, it is not a sat. But most of the words describing are, you're putting like that you rightly said, Sureshji, by negating. Everything is going by negation only. Avikarya,
That is what is the Shivoham. Now, that I'm not getting that word. What is that?
Asangoham is what you
Asangoham is, okay, not attached. In Shivoham, we are telling that I am not this, I am not this, I am not this, I am not
Manobudya
this.
hankara chitta.
So I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not nothing. So whatever it is left is that you are. Shivoham.
We try to see everything in the name and form, right? Like, so we try to give Atma also that way. But even though the nature is described as Chat, Chit, Ananda, and then we probably equate that to Brahman, right? Atma is otherwise Brahman. So Brahman is, again, it's pervading everything, and it's no form, no rupa, no name or anything. And it's beyond all these gunas, right? Like, so it's not happy or sad, it's beyond all of that. But yeah, so absolute knowledge, absolute those three things, right? Absolute knowledge, absolute.
Can't be described, madam. Don't try to.
No. What I'm saying is, it's the Brahman we read like as the Bhagavan, we read it like that.
The Shri.
Yeah, three.
Bhagavan is the 6 attributes. Six
Attributes. And then we said about his absolute knowledge, omnipotent, omnipresent things.
Absolute power, absolute dispassion, absolute wealth.
Right. Everything is absolute. Yeah, there was 6 points we reviewed was the power, jnana, and vairagya, fame. Yeah, and
absolute Shriya.
She is the one. And one more. Veera.
Virya.
Virya, okay.
Yeah. So very beautiful. So when it is Purna, it is full, there is no place it can go. Therefore, it is Thanu, it is Achala. And If Sat were to be an attribute, what would be the substantive? What would the substantive be? The substantive itself is Sat. So its Svarupa is Sat. The Sat is not an attribute of the Atma. Similarly, Chit is also not an attribute. Sat is Chit. Chit is Sat. Chit stands for consciousness, and this is what we call Sat. Because the Atma is limitless, the word Ananda also comes in to imply its Svarupa.
Yeah, the meditation that we are doing every day, where Gurudev is saying your mind is like energy form, right? So when you feel that energy form everywhere, you automatically feel happy. Right? Like in
Yeah.
terms of that, you're not thinking about anything else but just staying in that mode, it's really happy. I wondered that happiness is for us, or maybe whoever realizing it's already happy.
Very true.
Yeah.
The moment we have Nama Rupa, there is Raga Dvesha, and then all the negative spiral of unhappiness starts. When you remove that Nama Rupa, then what remains is just the energy. So if Sat were to be an attribute, what would the substantive be? The substantive itself is Sat. So its Svarupa is Sat. Thus, Sat is not an attribute of the Atma. Similarly, Chit is also not an attribute. Sat is Chit and Chit is Sat. Chit stands for consciousness, and this is what we call Sat. Because the Atma is limitless, the word Ananda also comes in to imply its Svarupa. Atma is said to be avikarya, not subject to modification at any time, because it does not have attributes to subject itself to change. Another reason that Atma cannot undergo change is because it is not in time. Atma has always been as it is now. All of this has been said about the Atma by those who know the Shastra. This being so, knowing the Atma as it has been revealed so far, corrects our thinking. I thought I was the body mind sense complex, Karya Karana Sanghata, and therefore a mortal, a doer, an enjoyer, a sukhi, a dukhi, one moment happy and the next unhappy. Knowing the Atma as it is, as Satchit Ananda, all the previous notions about Atma are given up. Thus, Krishna told Arjuna, you have no reason for grief. Shochitum na arhasi. The literal meaning of na arhasi is you do not qualify. We do not qualify to be sad because we know that Atma is not subject to death and that there is only one Atma, not many. Arjuna had told Krishna that he was grieving because Bhishma and Drona would die. To this, Krishna responded by saying that Arjuna did not qualify to have any grief because no one really dies. If no one really dies, what is the use of grieving? People keep going. Even though they all disappear, they come back in different forms. Given this explanation, Arjuna could well have come back with, I am not really worried about the Atma. It may be eternal, but I cannot shake hands with Atma, nor can I enjoy a talk with Satchidananda Atma, whereas I can with Bhishma. I am going to miss Satchit Ananda in the form of Bhishma. I am not grieving for the sake of Atma. Thus, if Arjuna's grief was not for the Atma, it was for Anatma. Even then, Krishna said, grief is useless. Anatma has to be either Nitya or Anitya. Obviously, it cannot be Nitya. As Anitya, Anatma is constantly born and is always dying. To be born means it has to give up the previous form. And giving up the previous form is what we call death. Therefore, birth itself implies death, and every death implies birth.
Like Brahman, the last page, what was the last line about Satchitananda?
The previous thing?
Yeah, like here, this last paragraph. After Sukha Dukhi, one moment happy and knowing the Atma as it is, as Satchitananda, all the previous notions about Atma are given up. Okay. So we are not. So what is this Karya Karana Sangata? Explains.
That is the body, mind, sense complex.
Oh. Okay.
Sanghata is the complex. Karya Karana is that it is through the body that we do, right?
Do the Karya, right. Karana is...
and the mind is the one that goads us to do.
Right. Okay. Sangata is the complex. Okay, got it.
So only when you have a desire can you even act. Any action requires a desire. And action is what is happening through the body. Also through the mind in a way. So when you have thoughts and all that. So Karya Karana Sanghata, I thought I was the body, mind, sense complex and therefore a mortal. A doer, an enjoyer, a sukhi, a dukhi. One moment happy and the next unhappy. But knowing the Atma as it is, as such an Ananda, all the previous notions about Atma are given up.
But now he says Atma cannot be, cannot shaking the hands of Atma.
But that is Arjuna's problem. No, the problem is he wants a physical body. The association that he has with Bhishma, Drona, that is going to go. That
is Asat.
association with the physical body is going. And that is what is causing him grief. He says, okay, you have Atma is eternal, no problem. But I cannot shake hands with that eternal Atma. I am going to miss Bhishma in his physical form.
Right.
So for that, Arjuna is told, he says, you're grieving for Anatma. Even then, Krishna says it is useless because Anatma has to be either Nitya or Anitya. Obviously, it cannot be Nitya. And as Anatma, it is constantly born and always dying. And here, if we recollect the Vasamsi Jeevnani Yatha Vihaya, Navani Grinnati Naroparani, Tatha Sharirani Vihaya Jeevnani, Anyani Samyati Navani Dehi. So this physical body is just like that pair of clothes that you discard when they become old. Whether they become old or not, you discard the clothes.
By saying, any Anatma in the form of Anatma, it's not Nitya. So it has to go. And whatever it goes, come back again. So that's the explanation Lord Krishna is giving to Arjuna.
Right.
To get over the grief.
So to be born means it has to give up the previous form, and having given up the previous and giving up the previous form is what we call death. Therefore, birth itself implies death, and every death implies birth. Whereas Atma is Ajaha, Aja, does not have a birth.
Aja means no birth. Is that
Ja,
Aja?
yeah. Aja is no birth.
We cannot say Atma as non-existent.
It exists always, right?
Therefore, in that this one asad, the meaning is not existing. The meaning is being, being, non-being. So we cannot say it as existing.
No, asat is exist, depending on the sat. It exists, but then it depends on some atma. It depends on the atma. That's the asat. It's not. It doesn't say that non-existent, right? Non-existent is something else. There was one word we read in between. What is that one? It's sat, asat. Oh, there was something we read. K something. Q or K or something.
Avikriya, you're talking about?
No, like you know about the existence, and then there is a depends on the existence, right? That's asat and asat. And then there is in between one completely non-existent.
Tucha.
Huh?
Tucha.
Yeah.
Tucha.
Yeah. Something. I remember something that I didn't forget the word. Tucha.
Tucha is as though existent.
Yeah. And then
Non-existent is like the son of a barren woman.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. The tucha is as though. Is that not called tucha? Okay, anyway. I think that's what we read somewhere.
I think you are right, Mara. That is what. Means non-existent is tucha. Asad is
depends on the sat.
That is what Brahma is meaning.
So we'll stop here today. Regarding the Kenopanishad, I know there are some who requested for the evening time, but the ones in Bahrain would prefer the morning. So therefore, today we will have it. We'll start not at 11:30 IST. We'll start at 12 o'clock, half an hour later. So not 9 o'clock Bahrain time, 9:30 Bahrain time. So please bear, and those that are not able to, please, the recording will be posted. You can access that.
Indian time would be, Dr.
12 o'clock India time.
12 o'clock. Okay, right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have my Sanskrit class that time, I think. Okay, it's fine.
Such a beautiful explanation given by Guruji on Kenopanishad. Very, very good. Very, very good.
Nice.
Wonderful. Do not miss it.
Yeah, I will try to listen on the recording.
Yeah. So we'll stop here today. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Eyes closed, आंखें बंद रखें, रीढ़ की हड्डी सीधा रखें, चेहरे में मुस्कान हो। अपना पूरा शरीर पर ध्यान दें। अरबों खरबों अणु परमाणुओं से बना है हमारा शरीर। Our body is made up of trillions and trillions of cells. And they're all changing all the time. The body appears to be stagnant, but it is full of changes every minute. Like a river, it's ancient, yet the water is new every minute. Nothing solid in your body, everything is fluid, everything is changing. Honor your own body. Our body is like the wick of a candle, and the mind is like the glow all around it. And your mind has no face, no shape, it's just energy. आपका मन का कोई चेहरा नहीं है, कोई रंग नहीं है। ऐसे ही सबका मन भी ऊर्जा ही है। Discard all the faces and see everyone only as energy. See everyone as just a silhouette with no face and just consciousness, just energy. Let's take a deep breath in with a smile. मुस्कुराते मुस्कुराते गहरी सांस लीजिए और मुस्कुराते मुस्कुराते सांस छोड़िए। एक विराट ऊर्जा का एक अंग है आप। You are just a part of an ocean of energy. That's called the Brahman. Let's take a deep breath in और ओमकार का उच्चारण करते हैं। Let the sound of Om reverberate in every cell of your body, in every corner of your mind. Sound Om is purifying and energizing. Let's breathe in again. ओंकार एक एक कण को शुद्ध कर देता है और पवित्र कर देते हैं। फिर एक गहरी सांस लीजिए। ओम शांति शांति शांति। धीरे धीरे शरीर और परिसर के प्रति सजग हो जाए। एक गहरी सांस लीजिए। टेक ए डीप ब्रेथ इन and as you breathe out, you may gently open your eyes.
Pizza Hut Super Limo.